how many of you saw Kony 2012 Part 2? Right. Well, you're a unique audience, right? And Kony 2012 Part 2, I encourage everyone to check out because that's the video that would have been amazing for viewers to watch after Kony 2012. It did more aspects of addressing a lot of the criticisms with regards to the simplistic narrative about the conflict.
Invisible Children does not partner with the government of Uganda in any way. If we were partnering with the government of Uganda, they wouldn't issue a two-page statement saying we are stopping tourism in Uganda. That is a clear sign that we are rejected. That is number one you should know.
If there is an organization that is the most favored in northern Uganda at the moment, it's Invisible Children, because we directly deal with the victims and they appreciate it. Like right now as I talk, go back to our website and see, we have talked about every single, I would say, detailed story about how the war has affected people in one way or the other. So to me, saying that the victim don't feel the benefit, I think is very wrong.
The victims felt super insulted to see a point where people were saying, okay, they kept showing the pictures of those who were hurt, those who were injured. Some of them lived within the community, and some of them are no longer in that situation anymore. And people were saying, this is what happened 10 years ago. Why are they doing it now? Why is it going 2012?
Have you had criticism from victims?
I've not had any criticism from any victim. We have more than 4,000 victims who are directly getting support from us. And yeah, that is all we are doing on the ground. And we have so much. We have started with livelihood. Education is our biggest focus right now as I talk.
So there have been reports from WikiLeaks that Invisible Children asked about WikiLeaks and they stopped. Did you get that? Spying for the Ugandan government. Those are reports that came out, and she all of a sudden had to leave. What are your? Can you give us some comments on this? Because I know you've written a lot on this topic.
Yes, that's very disturbing. Actually, I'd always questioned the independence of invisible children. I thought their agenda was too much in congruence with the same agenda of the Ugandan regime, which was to just keep pursuing the military approach. Because so long as Museveni argues that I need to be here to fight Joseph Kony, then it doesn't actually explain, wait a minute, you've been here 26 years already. Maybe you shouldn't be here at all. So I was wondering if an NGO is truly interested in rescuing the children of Uganda, why would they ally themselves so closely with Museveni? Why would you make Kony 2012 focusing on only one part and leaving out Museveni's army's atrocities? So we kept digging, and we got those memos, the WikiLeaks memos, which were memos written by the U.S. ambassador in Uganda in 2009, and the political affairs officer also in 2009. The ambassador's memo, written in February 2009, basically said Invisible Children, a San Diego-based NGO, is going to help with the campaign to promote Operation Lightning Thunder. That was the Ugandan military operation against the LRA that failed in the Congo. So essentially, Invisible Children was saying, we're going to be doing PR for you guys in case you want to continue this approach. That's the first memo. The second memo by the political affairs officer, Kathleen Fitzgibbon, said the Ugandan regime had unearthed another plot against the regime. And the tip came from Invisible Children.
Now, the screening in Lango, I was not there. The screening in Gulu, it will shock you that people wanted to see Joseph Kony fighting. And the few instances when he was fighting and shooting, people were cheering. What does that tell you? That probably Ugandans are looking for someone who they think can stand up to the dictatorship in Uganda, whether violently, and So I think there is need to have a more nuanced approach. I also believe that it never dealt with some of the underlying issues, which are delicate. And I think Invisible Children does not want to get involved in that.
And on video storytelling, since we're talking about Kony 2012, what did it get right and what did it get wrong, in your opinion?
Yeah. Well, I think the main thing to remember is that Kony 2012 didn't occur in a vacuum. And so they knew their audience, and their audience was young folks, most likely that did not know who Kony was or the LRA is, and certainly might be first time of understanding the background of that situation. So I think they realized that their audience was going to be exposed to this for the first time, and they chose a story that was very successful of the hero archetype. So you have a challenge, and that challenge is Jason Russell trying to understand how to do the right thing as somebody that's exposed to these human rights violations. So, you know, they created a very good advocacy video. It's not a documentary. It doesn't inform in depth any of the viewers, you know, and I think that gets to the question of, is that simplicity actually a detriment to the human rights advocacy by not talking about where the LRA is operating? But I think what they did is they knew their audience and they knew what they wanted of their audience. I think for those of us in the human rights community, it inspires a lot of questions to try to understand, is that simplicity too much? And also, are the requests for action actually going to make a difference? There's an element of, you know, the commodification of activism. If you donate and buy these kits and you participate because you care, then you're making a difference. And I think for those of us that are looking at this through a different lens, we're a little concerned about that because we do want millions of people to be aware of the LRA and have attention and focus, but at the same time, we want to make sure the requests of their action are actually going to create substantive change. And what about the rehabilitation of those that have been affected in the communities? There's a lot of great work being done all throughout northern Uganda especially, and certainly in CAR and the DRC and South Sudan, and where are those voices?